Welcome student friends. In this class, I would like to touch up some aspects of the soil fungi. Soil forms the one of the basis of all the living organisms, including the fungus. The fungus that present in the soil, they are otherwise said to be the soil fungus. Most of the fungal members come under the soil fungus. The fungus grown in the soil either as a saprophytes, that is for the food material that depend upon the dead organic material, or either it lives as a parasites, that is for the food material it depend upon the living host material. In the earlier days, most of the mycologists believed that mycologists have no role in the environment or in the nature, but later only on the development of the microbiology field, the mycologists realized the importance of this soil fungus, because the soil fungus serves as a scavengers to the environment and cleans the nature. In this manner, the soil fungus is one of the important as well as the integral part of the soil microflora. In the coming part of the class, point out some of the importance of the important role of this soil fungus. Before that, regarding the distributions of the soil fungus, the soil fungus, most of the soil fungus, they are found only on the top layer of the soil. One report says that in the first 4 inches of the soil, there is maximum representations of the soil fungus. When there is increase in the depth of the soil, there is a decrease in the representations of the soil fungus. The soil fungus may be found only up to the 12 inches depth of the soil. After the 12 inches depth, there is no presentations of this soil fungus. Like the same way, some of the soil fungus, they are able to found in any locality. Same way, some of the fungus, they are able to grow in different localities, in different types of soils. Mycologists, particularly the Rain King and Mans, they described these type of soils that are evenly distributed in the soil. They called this type of soil fungus as a soil invaders. At the same time, some of the soil fungus, they are found only in they are able to grow only in a particular locality, and the mycologists named this soil fungus as a soil inhabitants, and laterally mycologists called this soil inhabitant as a root inhabiting fungus. And so these are some of the general introductory aspect of this soil fungus. Now I am moving to the next important part. That is what of the role played by this soil fungus. Earlier I told you that this soil fungus play an important role as a scavenger. It cleans the environment. Nowadays, our earth become a dumping of all the waste product as well as all the dead organic matters, etc. And particularly most of the microorganisms, namely there is the bacteria as well as actinomycetes as well as the protozoans, they involved in the decomposing of this dead organic matter as well as the waste materials and cleans the environment. And particularly in this context, I would like to stress one important point. The microorganism bacteria, they are able to decompose only the soft tissues. They are particularly animal in origin. At the same time, they are not able to decompose the plant materials. Particularly the microorganism bacteria, they are able to decompose only the smooth tissues, the smooth tissues are the soft tissues, particularly the animal in origin, but they are not able to decompose the plant materials, because the plant materials mainly made up of some of the hardest materials, like there's a cellulose or the hemicellulose or pectin as well as the lignin compounds. These bacteria having lack of the degrading enzymes. So in this aspect, the soil fungus play one of the important role. The soil fungus, they are able to synthesize the enzymes like there's a cellulase or hemicellulase or the pectinase and the lignolytic enzymes. Because of these enzymes, they are able to break down the complex materials that are found in the dead plant matters, and the duration may be changed for the decomposing of the plant material. Here for the decomposing of the leaf material, it takes some 10 or 15 days. For the decomposing of the branches, the soil fungus takes 4 to 6 months, etc. So then the time only changes. So imagine if there is completely absence of the soil fungus, what happens? Our earth becomes a dumping of the dead plant organic matter. So the soil fungus, by decomposing the plant material, it cleans the environment. Coming to the next important role of the soil fungus, it not only decomposes the organic matter, but it also plays important role in the releasing of the carbon dioxide. Here for example, in our atmosphere, there is presence of only there is a 0.03% of there is atmospheric carbon dioxide, or otherwise simply said to be there is presence of 21 billion tons of carbon dioxide in the atmospheric air. At the same time, the plant during the photosynthesis, it fixes more than 80 million tons of carbon dioxide. If there is lack of the renewal of carbon dioxide, what will happen? The available carbon dioxide, that's the 21 billion tons of carbon dioxide, comes only for a few decades. So the carbon dioxide may be renewed in different ways. Here for example, during the time of this respirations of plants, there is emissions of a large number of carbon dioxide. At the time of this volcanic eruptions, there is emissions of a large amount of carbon dioxide. Like the same way, there is a combustions of the gas and the coal as well as the petroleum. There is emissions of there is a large amount of carbon dioxide. So it accounts only 20% of the renewable source of the carbon dioxide. But at the same time, the microorganisms, it accounts by decomposing or by other way, it accounts 80% of the carbon dioxide renewable source. So in this aspect, the soil fungus play important role by during the decomposition of the plant organic matter. There is a release of excess, there is more amount of carbon dioxide. In turn, the carbon dioxide once again used for the well growth of the plant by the photosynthesis aspect. Then coming to the next point, during the decomposition, there is the final product of the decomposition is nothing but the humus formations. The humus formations plays one of the important role in the soil process. The humus is always rich in mineral content. The humus, they are easily absorbed by the growth of the higher plants. So the humus, made the soil to fertile in nature. So these are the continuous reactions. These are the continuous reactions. An excellent example for this type of excellent reactions is nothing but the forest ecosystem. In the forest, then and there, the trees shed their leaves to the leaves. The leaves are coming to the ground. By the actions of the soil fungus, it becomes decomposed. During the decomposition, there is a releasing of the carbon dioxide. It is used for the photosynthesis for the higher trees. At the same time, the humus formation once again used for this higher growth of the trees. So these are the chain of reactions. Then coming to the next important role of the soil fungus. A number of soil fungus, particularly Corticum, then Rhizoctonia, then Amanita, the number of soil fungus, they are intimately associated with the roots of the higher plants, particularly the pinus or as well as the Orchidaceae members, etc. The mycologists called this type of associations nothing but the mycorrhizal associations. In Greek, the word mycorrhizations is split into two. There's a myco means it denotes there's a mushroom or the fungus. Rhiza denotes the word roots. So here the fungus as well as the roots are intermingly associated with each other. And it is this association is a typical example for the symbiotic relationship. In the symbiotic relationship, the soil fungus, already we know soil fungus, the fungus, they are able to hold the moisture content. Whenever the plant requires the water, it simply absorbs the water content from the moisture of this soil fungus. This is one aspect. Then the soil fungus, they are able to convert the unavailable micronutrient to available forms, and it once again it is supplied to the roots of the higher plants. This is the next the symbiotic associations by the particularly by the fungus. At the same time, the root, the higher plants of the root, during the growth of the plant, there is exudations of some chemical substances. The soil fungus in turn supplying the nutrients as well as the water content, it takes the exudates of the root as a food material. So this mycorrhizal these associations, one of the excellent examples are the symbiotic associations. So this is another role, symbiotic role of the soil fungus. Then coming to the next of the soil fungus, the final important role is the soil fungus act as a biological controlling of the number of soil-borne disease. In the soils, the soil, there is already existing of a number of nematodes or the number of the mites and different types of the worms. These different type of these nematodes or the other things, it infect the roots of the higher plant, and it causes some different disease like wilt disease or some other disease. And particularly some of the soil fungus like there is the Arthrobotium or the Colomomyces or the Lagenidium, particularly it infect the nematodes and it kill the nematode and absorbs the food from the nematodes. So these are the some of the important role played by this soil fungus. Now we move to the another part, that is the how the soil fungus are classified into different types. Particularly one mycologist, his name, there's a Garrett, during the year 1951, he classified this soil fungus into 5 different types based upon the functional aspect. Here, for example, the first one is there's a sabrophytic sugar fungus. Most of the mucorrhizal members come under this sabrophytic sugar fungus. For example, there's the Rhizophus or the Penicillium or the water. This fungus comes under the sabrophytic sugar fungus. The important characters of this fungus are this type of fungus, they simply depend upon the whatever the simple sugars that are found on the substratums. This type of fungus, they simply depend upon the whatever simple sugars like there's a glucose or the lactose. They are able to absorb this type of simple sugars. This fungus not having there's some sophisticated enzymes like the cellulose or the hemicellulose, etc. And this type of sabrophytic soil fungus, they are otherwise the ephemeral fungus, because they infect the substratum and germinate very quickly and multiply the mycelium very quickly, and within a short duration it absorbs the whatever simple sugars and very quickly it undergoes the sexual reproduction. So within a short duration it completes their life cycles. And the next type of soil fungus is the lignicolous soil decomposers. That's the lignicolous soil decomposers. And this type of soil fungus belongs to most of the Ascomycetes as well as the Basidiomycetes members. And these members having synthesized some of the enzymes, some highly advanced enzymes like the cellulase or the pectinase or the lignolytic enzymes. Because of this, the enzymes, they are able to decompose there's a wood material, particularly wood. There is a large depositions of the lignin. Particularly, this type of fungus, they are able to decompose this lignin compound, and from the release of the energy, they are used as a food material. Polyporus, agaricus, these are the examples. Then coming to the next one is the coprophilous fungus. The coprophilous fungus are nothing but the living fungus. They are able to grow only on the excretions of the animals. Because for their growth, this type of fungus, for their growth, it requires one important iron derivatives called coprogen. Coprogen is particularly present only in the excretions of the animals. So this type of fungus are otherwise said to be the coprophilous fungus. Here, for example, there is the Pylobolus as well as some of the Pachysa members are come under the coprophilous type of fungus. Then coming to the next one is there is a Pyridaceous fungus. The Pyridaceous fungus are nothing but some of the soil fungus. It is simply associated with some of the higher animal organisms, particularly nematodes or some other higher animal organisms. These are said to be the Pyridaceous fungus. Then coming to the last one is the soil inhabiting fungus. The soil inhabiting fungus, it is always said to be the mycorrhizal fungus. Earlier we see this mycorrhizal the type of fungus. Now we move to the next part. There is a method to study the soil fungus. In order to find out the distributions of the soil fungus, in order to find out the strength of the soil fungus in a particular area, in order to find out the distributions of the soil fungus, we are a number of methods are involved for the study of this soil fungus. At the same time, there is a number of methods to study the soil fungus. At the same time, not a single method is suitable for the study of the soil fungus. So, in order to capture the correct pictures of the soil fungus, we have to employ a different type of not a single method is suitable for the study of the soil fungus. So, in order to capture the correct pictures of the soil fungus, we have to employ different methods. Now, we are going to see what are the different methods to study the soil fungus. And the first one is the Rossi-Choladny. That's the contact slide method. Rossi-Choladny contact slide method. Rossi is an Russian microbiologist during the year 1928, and Choladny, an Italian microbiologist during 1930. They individually put forward this type of contact slide method, and laterally they are collectively said to be Rossi-Choladny contact slide method. It is one of the very simple method. Here, for their experiment, for to study the soil fungus, they simply take a microscopic, there's a glass slide, and in order to find out the distributions of the soil fungus, they kept a number of slides in a different place. There's particularly there's some inches below the soil fungus, or in order to find out the depth of the soil fungus, some of the slides must be kept under some distance and some depth of the soil. After several days or a week, here once again they collect all the slides and they remove the dust particles and stained slides and undergoes the microscopic observations. In the microscopic observations, they are able to find out the growth of a number of the mycelial filaments. Here, once again I told you that each method having some advantage and each method having some disadvantage. Particularly in the contact slide method, in this method we are able to study the different filament structures only, but we are not able to study the sporulation structures. The sporulation structure is one of the important structure which is used for the classifications of the different type of soil fungus. Particularly in this aspect, it is not suitable. Then coming to the next method, there is the dilution plate method. In this is also some simple method. In this method, the soil sample is collected from a particular locality and the soil samples is undergoes for a different dilutions. For that is the 1:100 or the 1:1000 or the 1:10,000, and this diluted solutions once again poured in a petri dish which containing the agar medium. After several days or 1 week, in each petri dish there is growth of the different type of the fungal mycelium as well as the sporulating structures. From that we are able to find out what are the different type of soil fungus that presents in a particular locality, some other characters. And this method also having some advantage and having some disadvantages. Here in this method, they are able to produce the sporulating structure which is used for the identifications of the soil fungus and having some disadvantages like, and each soil fungus they required a different type of there's a medium. Someone requires the agar medium or someone requires some other type of medium. In this aspect it is not suited. At the same time, during the collection of the samples, here some of the stone particles or some of the dust particles, the mycologist should remove that particles. Even in the particle there may be presence of some mycelium that belongs to the Deuteromycetes. So we go for the the mycologist employed some other method. That method is also said to be the workup method. The workup method, once again it is put forward by one mycologist called Workup during the year 1950. This method is very similar to that of this dilution plate technique, having some deviations. But in this method, the soil samples are taken, and this soil sample without any discardations, the soil samples are grained in the pestle and mortar, and once again it go for the serial dilutions and cultured in the petri dish. This method is very similar to that of the dilution plate technique. Then coming to the next method, that is the immersion tube technique. In this, instead of there's a microscopic and the glass slide, the mycologist take the glass tube. The glass tube must having there's a two ends of opening, and in the center inner side of the center part, the mycologist placed some the medium, whether it may be agar medium or the some other medium, and once again tube depth below the soils. After several days or the 1 week, they take the immersion tube and go for the analysis for the studying the various different type of the soil fungus. This is one method, and then the last method is the Tripe's cellophane method. Tripe is the mycologist. He put forward this type of method during the year 1960. Here this method also very similar to that of the first method. That is the Rossi-Cholarny contact slide method. But instead of the plain the microscopic glass slide, the Tripes here cover the glass slide into a cellophane paper. Before that, before covering the cellophane paper, he removed whatever the process and the plastic nature of this cellophane paper and covered the cellophane paper into the glass slide. And after that, he placed this in the cellophane the some depth of the soils, and after some durations, here once again he take this and undergoes for the analysis. And this Tripes method having one advantage, that is from this method we are able to find out the succession of the different type of the soil fungus. In the beginning stage, the atmosphere may be favorable to one type of soil fungus. So there is a growth of the one type of soil fungus in the cellophane paper, and in the later time, it is evacuated by the some higher fungus. Here during the succession, each soil fungus secretes cell substances. From this chemical substance, we are able to find out the succession of the different type of the soil fungus. So these are the various methods employed to study the soil fungus. Now we move to the final part. That is, what are the factors that affect this soil fungus? We go through one by one. The first one is the temperature. How the temperature affect the growth of the soil fungus? The temperature always have a highly influence the growth of this soil fungus. Most of the soil fungus they grow excellent only the temperature in between the 5 to 37 degrees. So this type of fungus that grown in between the 5 to 35 degrees, these fungus are associated with the mesophiles. Those fungus grow more than the temperature. There is the 40 degree, and etc. That fungus are associated with thermophilic fungus, and those fungus that grows below the 5 degree of temperature, that soil fungus are associated with the psychrophilic fungus. This is regarding the temperature. Then we come to there is the moisture. How the moisture content affect the growth of the soil fungus? Moisture content always, the high moisture content always favors the growth of the soil fungus. Particularly, it is evident from the experiment. During the rainy season, activity of the soil fungus is always higher in rate compared to the dry seasons. In the dry season, the activity of the soil fungus is come to lower than the 50%. This is regarding the moisture content. Then coming to the pH nature, how the pH nature affect this soil fungus. But the pH, the soil fungus are able to tolerate the varied in pH conditions. They are able to grow in acidic nature of the soil, and they are the soil fungus, they are acidic nature of the soil. And particularly the pH, it affects the substrate. The substrate may be unsuitable for the soil fungus. So the pH indirectly affect the growth of the soil fungus. This is regarding the soil. There is the pH nature. Then coming to there's a concentration of the carbon dioxide. Already we know the soil fungus are act as the decomposers. During the decomposing the plant organic matter, there is releasing of the carbon dioxide. When the concentration of the carbon dioxide increases more and more, automatically the high concentration inhibit the growth of this soil fungus. This is the regarding the this carbon dioxide concentration. Then we coming to the next antagonistic effect between this soil fungus. Here the soil fungus during their growth, each soil fungus they are able to secrete some specific exudations. Here for example, the penicillium is a fungus which exudates a chemical substance. We call the chemical substance as a penicillin. This chemical substance they inhibit the growth of the some other soil fungus nearby the penicillium fungus. So this is the antagonistic effect between this soil fungus. These are regarding the different factors affecting the soil fungus. To conclude my lecture, so far we have seen how the soil fungus distributed in the nature, and how this soil fungus, what are the various roles of this soil fungus, and how these soil fungus are classified, and what are the factors affecting this soil fungus.